Okay, well, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Innovate BC. We are so honored that you have joined us this afternoon. I, for one, am super excited about our guest speaker. She is dynamic. She brings the good medicine, the good energy. So I just know you're in for a treat for this afternoon's webinar. So you've joined Innovate BC in partnership with Can Do. We're honored that you've joined us, or maybe you're catching this on the replay. You are welcome here. You belong here. And I know that you'll walk away with some really great takeaways. So today's webinar is Business Startup. So our guest presenter has a whole bunch of good energy. So before I jump into her, because I just want to jump into her because I just value her so much and appreciate her so much. But before we do that, feel free to put your location where you're joining us from in the chat box. Feel free to use that chat box throughout today's webinar. Also, Loa is really all about the interactive, so I'm sure there's going to be some conversations that are going to happen. But for sure, at the end, there will be opportunity for question and answers if you have any. So use that chat box along the way. Would love that engagement. The sun is shining here. Well, as I look over, it kind of looks overcast now. The sun is shining. The sun is there here in Edmonton, Treaty 6 territory. So wherever you are, I know in Manitoba, there's a big storm happening, but I hope wherever you are that you're safe, you're warm, you feel well, and that you're just in a good place. I think it's always important to acknowledge, Creator's goodness in our lives. Even when we walk through those valleys, those hard times, that Creator brings goodness into our lives in all shapes and forms and ways. And, we are in the spring season. So Lo is joining us from BC, and the spring has sprung. And I said here in Edmonton, not so much. It's still brown out there. But nonetheless, just thankful for all the gifts of Mother Earth, of the animals, the plants, and the waters. And of course, the two-legged, our loved ones, the people who are in our circle, our family and chosen families. So we just give thanks for all the goodness and the gifts that are in our lives today. So hi, Creator. All right, so on to the program. So Lo is joining us from BC. She has 20 plus years of entrepreneurial marketing, technology, and sales expertise through her marketing agency, which is Activate. So she's consulting for emerging private and public companies, Indigenous and not-for-profit organizations here in Canada. She also works with progressive Indigenous communities in BC, passing along marketing, digital media, and sales knowledge to Indigenous entrepreneurs who want to start and grow companies that they are passionate about. And I think that that's the key word, just being passionate about what you believe in, what you want to put your focus and your energy in to a business. So she has also created a 15-course business training program that gives Indigenous adults and youth the professional and personal development tools and skills, which I think is so important, building that capacity, which is needed to succeed in today's digital economy. So many of her participants are operating thriving businesses, which is good news, who have been recognized for their achievements at BC's Indigenous Business Awards in Vancouver. So she also has a LinkedIn profile. I'm sure she's going to drop it throughout her presentation. So be sure to follow this one. She's a powerhouse. She's got good energy. So today you're joining for the Business Startup webinar. So it's an exciting 1-hour session, how to start and operate an Indigenous business that fills a market need and contributes to the local economy. Indigenous peoples are the original entrepreneurs of Canada and are starting businesses 9 times faster than non-Indigenous Canadians. And we've seen that through this pandemic. The last 2 years, I've seen so many businesses come alive, and it's been amazing. The Indigenous economy is expected to reach 100 billion by 2025, which is amazing news to hear, which means many opportunities exist for Indigenous companies to capture a share of this rapidly growing market. So there are various resources available to assist Indigenous peoples with launching and growing their own business. So if you have an idea, you can tap into all of those resources out there for you that's meant to help you to build your capacity, to work on your skill set. And she is one who's going to talk about this today. And there are so many takeaways today. So I'm just going to pass this virtual mic over to a wonderful, wonderful human being. So welcome to the stage, Loa. We're honored that you're here.
Oh, Michelle, thank you so much. What an incredible introduction. I think that everybody will agree. Talk about good energy. Michelle has an abundance of it. Michelle, thank you so much for that incredible introduction. I really appreciate it. And it's always so good to see you and amazing to see all of our participants here today. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. And I'm really excited to share what I have been able to learn and the knowledge that I've picked up around Indigenous entrepreneurship and working with various Indigenous communities. So I'm just going to share my screen. And Michelle, are you going to stick around? Yeah, okay, perfect. Wonderful, wonderful. Okay, hopefully everybody can see this. Yeah, thumbs up if you can see it. Okay, yay, excellent. Okay, well, I was going to do an introduction, but I think Michelle covered that for me. Thank you, Michelle. The only one thing that I wanted to add, which is new, is because there is such an interest in Indigenous entrepreneurship, I've recently, well, I haven't launched it yet, but it's coming down the pipeline in a few weeks, an online training for Indigenous people interested in becoming Indigenous entrepreneurs. And part of the reason for this too is because I've been doing webinars as well for the AFOA of BC, which is another Indigenous association. And I've realized that there's a lot of people in rural areas that haven't really been able to participate in the larger national economy because they've been somewhat isolated. And also there's been a challenge around internet connectivity, but this is changing now. So there is an opportunity now for people who are rural to be able to access the digital economy, because the pandemic has thrown us into a place where we're all digital all the time. So this is amazing because this creates a lot of economic growth and opportunity for nations, both urban and rural. So that is just a little sidebar and something new that I've been able to put together and introduce. And I'm going to be offering a free peek into the whole online training. So if you'd like, at the end of the webinar, please let me know and I'll put the link in the chat. And you can, if you're interested in becoming an entrepreneur or you're encouraging others in your nation, then I encourage you to attend this webinar. So why don't we do this? So we know now the best way to gain business opportunity is for all of us to be able to know who each other is and network with each other. So can you turn on your cameras if you haven't yet and briefly say a little hello, what your name is, what nation you're from, and what you're hoping to learn today, so we know who's active and who's a budding entrepreneur. Who would like to start? How about Jason?
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jason Wilson. I'm from the Wewake Nation, and I'm the manager of economic development here. And again, I wanted to join today just to see sort of what your content was, because I mentioned in the chat there that I'm looking for somebody to do some of this type of training for our members that are interested in becoming entrepreneurs.
Oh, that's amazing, Jason. That's so great. Thank you for sharing. I know that this is a big interest for a lot of nations. It's exciting. It's a great time to be an active and to be encouraging this kind of entrepreneurship. Thanks. Jamie, how about you?
Hello?
Hi.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So my name is Jamie Arcand. I'm from Fridfinnson Cree Nation. I'm from Treaty 6 territory as well, and my business is actually getting into making clothing So it's going to be a clothing
Apparel.
business. Yeah. And yeah, I just really wanted to check this out because it was about starting your business, and you know, it'd be good, something good to learn. And also in a course with Michelle with for the Indigenous coaching too. So it's good to like know how to speak to people about your brand or whatever you're, you know, like if you want to go to like schools and stuff and like, you know, do presentations and stuff, and that's something I would like to get into. And that's about it.
Excellent. Well, thank you, Jamie. It's so nice to have you here, and how exciting you're starting your own business. That's great. Well, I hope you pick up some good tips today that will help you make that journey a little easier. Awesome. Thanks. And do you pronounce it Beth? Eves? Hi, Eves. How are you? Are you there? Okay, I don't know if Eves is there. Oh, connecting to audio, so maybe can't hear us yet. Blossom, how about you? Do you want to say hello? Let us know where you're from and what your goals are.
Hi, I'm from Eel First Nation, New Brunswick, Mi'kmaq Maliseet. I am, oh, and this little guy wanted to nosy. In my community, where we have the highway going right through our community, we have a whole commercial development up in our area. So we come from a small community in northern New Brunswick. We're right on the border of Quebec as well. Okay. So I have a few ideas, and I do want to eventually start my own business. So I'm just trying to tap into every type of education I can about starting a business. So I'm grateful to be here. Nice to meet you all.
Oh, nice to meet you too. That's excellent. Wow, it's so exciting how many people, Indigenous people, are looking to start their own business. I love it. Yay. And Zen, how about you?
Yes, I'm from Ontario, and I'm here to encourage Indigenous people to take on contracts with Canada Post. Canada Post needs a lot of transportation, whether it be ground or air.
Yeah.
And a lot of them are one driver, one truck, one route. Okay. Even some of the air services are one route, two locations. So it's to encourage as many Indigenous. That's my job, at least until July the 1st, to get as many people to take on new startups. Yes, absolutely new startups. Because all it takes, I'm working on one right now. It's 24 hours. You rent, borrow, or lease a truck for 24 hours, and we need somebody to quote on a contract for all year round, 24 hours, 7 days a week. So wow. It's an opportunity. So there's lots of opportunities with Canada Post. So and we're encouraged by the federal government to get as many Indigenous contractors as possible.
Oh, that's fantastic, Zen. Yes, I know that there's lots of opportunity around in the distribution space, especially considering, so many of us are shopping from home, and then someone's got to deliver it, right? So that's wonderful. What a good space to be in. Thank you. And Elsie and Michelle, I think everybody probably knows who you guys are, but Elsie, do you want to turn your camera on and say a quick hi?
Hi, my name is Elsie. I'm Special Projects Assistant with Can Do, and I'm just here in the background doing some work.
Great, thanks, Elsie. And Nicole, hi. Are you there? Okay, Nicole's either stepped away or she's on silent. So let's get into it, everybody, because we've got only a quick hour together today. So let's talk about the current environment, first of all, for entrepreneurship. Well, as of pre-COVID, there was 46,000 Indigenous entrepreneurs. And as Michelle stated earlier, this is growing, oh, got a typo there, but it's growing about between 5 and 9 times faster than non-Indigenous entrepreneurs in Canada. And we've got the economy for Indigenous business was clocked at about 32 billion in 2016, and is expected to grow to 100 billion by 2024, which is massive growth, obviously. And this is going to come from both big projects that nations are undertaking, as well as it'll trickle down to individual entrepreneurship, because within all these big projects that are being that are happening, where nations are partnering with corporate Canada or partnering with the government, with the federal or provincial governments, that means there's a lot of products and services that are going to be required from all of these big developments. So individual Indigenous entrepreneurs have a massive opportunity right now to enter the space and be supported, not only in starting and running their businesses, but also with a lot of opportunities that are coming from these big developments. And that includes procurement. And we'll talk a little bit about what procurement looks like as well. And yeah, there's just a lot of it's a great time to be an Indigenous entrepreneur. And as I mentioned, rural nations are now gaining more high-speed internet. So that's going to allow them to really enter the digital economy in a big way, where they were slightly isolated before. So times are changing, and it's really exciting. Now, the new normal, right? So we went through, or are still somewhat going through the pandemic, but thank goodness it looks like we're coming out on the other side. And what it's done is, human beings, we tend to get our most innovative and creative when we're pushed into a corner. So we were, many of us, at least half of us, were dipping our toe in the water and doing online business prior to the pandemic. But once the pandemic hit, this especially hit small businesses really hard, where they either had to pivot and move their bricks and mortar company into the digital space and learn about e-commerce, learn how to market themselves in a bigger way online, and understand how to maybe add new distribution models and new delivery mechanisms to their business, or they wouldn't survive. So many did. And this is now our new normal, right? Where many of us are working from home and in the office. We're in a hybrid situation. A lot of people, at least in urban areas, who are working downtown all the time, 50% of them now are permanently working from home. So this is the space we're now all of us are now living in. So we have to figure out, okay, what new opportunities are coming from this new normal? And there are many. So Canada's digital economy, as I said, we were pretty internet savvy before, but now we've got a 94% internet penetration rate. We've got the majority of us Canadians are shopping online. Of course, that there was a big push towards that due to the pandemic and people having to socially distance, and shopping from home became the new normal. E-commerce retail sales have really exploded, and 43 out of 4 small businesses are now selling online, which again is huge growth. Before it was like 1 out of 4. And now we've got almost 50% of those businesses that are e-commerce savvy. And that is a 400% spike just in the last 5 years alone, which is massive. And of course, I'm sure all of us are on one social media channel or another, which means that as Canadians, we are highly socially active, and especially online, where we're posting and sharing and consuming information on products, services, and other things that we're interested in. So it's really we've had to make this shift, and we've done it. And now many of us are very comfortable with operating in the online space. And that includes many small businesses and Indigenous small businesses especially. So there are a lot of different types of companies that a small business, an Indigenous person can start. Many of the people that I have been teaching are so super uber creative and talented, and they didn't realize that their skills were commercialable. So it's just a matter of understanding what is hot in the marketplace now. What do consumers, both business consumers as well as retail consumers, what are they looking for? And what are your special skills as an entrepreneur? What is your expertise? And how can you commercialize that expertise and get in front of the people that would make really ideal customers for you? And same thing goes if you're in economic development and you're encouraging other people in your community to become entrepreneurs, the best thing to do is to look around at your own town or your city and look and see what products and services are required, especially if you're going and doing big development right now with any corporations or the government, whether it's industrial or you're doing real estate development. There's going to be products and services that will be required from that. So what do those look like, and how can you encourage your people to get into these businesses and look and see? And even artists, for example, Indigenous art is becoming really a super in demand area of the art world. A lot of people want to buy Indigenous art and have it on their homes and their offices, as well as gifting. One of my clients and friends is he sells Indigenous art. He does big projects, but also he sells his Indigenous art products to corporations. So for gifting. And that has been a huge market. And he sells through retail stores as well, both bentwood boxes and jewelry. So there's so much opportunity for artists too to enter the space. And now that there's print on demand services, artists don't even have to do all of the manufacturing themselves. They can upload their art designs to their website that's connected to print on demand. A consumer can come to their website, like a certain image, and then have it printed either as a print for their wall or printed on yoga pants or whatever it happens to be. And the print on demand company that's behind the scenes will do all the manufacturing and shipping for the artist. So it's brilliant. The artist doesn't even have to be super tech friendly now, and they don't have to know all of the back end operations. Of course, they're going to have to give a certain percentage of the sale to the print on demand company, but it just, it opens up a whole new avenue of commerce for Indigenous artists. And there's lots of different types of products and services that you can either, as an Indigenous entrepreneur, can go into and look into, and as an ECDev officer, to encourage your people to do what they love and get paid for it. Like, what's better than that? I don't know. I get to do that, and so I'm pretty excited to teach other people how to do it. So, what are the startup steps in operating your own business? Well, we're going to have to go real high level today because we just don't have the time to get into each step, but in depth. But I do in the Entrepreneurship 101 course that I'm offering online, and I also do teach the 15-course business curriculum for nations in person, whichever they prefer. So, startup step number one: have a really good business idea. Do your research. Find out what kind of consumer would be ideal for you, whether it's a business consumer, if you're selling direct to a business, or if you're selling your retail products, like if you're jewelry or soaps or whatever it happens to be. Also, find a name for your business. And I know naming your business is like naming your child. It can sometimes be quite an undertaking, but you definitely want to make sure that you keep your name somewhat short and snappy and easy to remember. And also go online to like a GoDaddy.com or Wix.com and register your domain, your URL for your website as soon as you can. And the easier it is to remember, the better. Okay, and then the next step is decide on your business structure. Are you going to be a sole proprietor, a corporation, or a partnership? Many people, when they're starting out in business, start out as a sole proprietor just because it's not as complex and it's a little easier to get started. But you do have quite a bit of liability as a sole proprietor. So once you get a bit more established, I would recommend incorporating, because not only does that protect you and separate you, the person, from the business, but it also has a lot of added benefits when you're going for grant funding with any levels of the government. And there's a whole bunch of other benefits, especially tax benefits. And that's another really interesting sort of area to go into, which I wish we had time to today, but the tax benefits for an Indigenous entrepreneur are fantastic if they're doing business on reserve, because a lot of your expenses are going to be a write-off, or you're not going to have to pay tax on them. If you're doing business off reserve, it gets a little more complicated, or if you're selling off reserve. But if you get hooked up with a really good accountant and lawyer that understands Indigenous businesses, then they can really help you to navigate that. But just know, if you're doing business on reserve, generally you don't have to pay tax, which is a huge benefit that will save you massive amounts of startup capital, and also not having to pay that tax is going to put more money in your pocket. And then the next step is registering your business with the province. Really important that you do that, just to solidify your business as a legitimate business. As I said, you can operate as a sole proprietor initially, but I would definitely recommend that you make sure you register with your province. And then the next one is location, location, location. Decide where your business location is going to be, if you're a retail store, or if you're going to be selling online, or maybe you're going to have a hybrid model of both. And what's your distribution method? How are you going to get your products and services into the hands of your customer? Number 7 is make sure you have a solid business plan together. A business plan, now I do have a template in this PowerPoint presentation that you'll have in your handout. And it's called the Business Model Canvas, which is basically an overview, one pager of how you're going to operate your business. If you have that, you as a starting point, because a business plan can be quite a laborsome undertaking. If you go for bank financing, for example, you will need a business plan. But if you're going to if you're going to request financial help from, for example, an Aboriginal Capital Corporation, of which there's 59 across Canada, and there's going to be most likely one in your region, then they are a lot more supportive of Indigenous businesses and don't expect you to have a 30-page business plan right out of the gate. And they will, in fact, help to fund you to get someone to help you write your business plan and put your marketing plan together. So definitely look into that. And the next is financing. So as I mentioned, there's many Indigenous capital corporations, 59 across Canada, that will help you to raise money to get your business off the ground, as well as help you with operations and marketing and funding those aspects. And you can, of course, go for traditional bank financing. The challenge with that for many Indigenous businesses that are on reserve is because a lot of Indigenous people don't own the land. So that makes it a bit challenging in terms of banks often want some kind of asset to back up the loan. So what I would recommend, though, is going to maybe like a Van City, because Van City is a lot more friendly to Indigenous businesses in this capacity. And also you can look at going to your nation. The nations that I've worked with, they have grant funding available set aside for their Indigenous entrepreneurs. So that's another avenue. See if your nation has that sort of support as well for you. And then production. How are you going to produce your products and services? Like I mentioned, you can do print on demand if you're an Indigenous artist, or if you're actually manufacturing your own apparel, like I think it was Jamie mentioned. How are you going to get a vendor to help you do that, Jamie, or are you doing it from your own shop? Or so think about how you're going to manufacture and create your products and your services. And if you need to get suppliers, what does that look like, or vendors to help you with that? And then operations. Establish all your operations, all your various the moving parts that are going to help you to really get your business up and running. So that's everything from getting your suppliers in order, who's going to do your accounting, are you going to need to hire people? So get some HR, a little bit of HR knowledge and tips. What kind of technology and systems are you going to need to put in place? These are all the aspects of your operations that are really important to get clear on as you're starting and operating and growing your business. And then finally, you want to brand your business, make sure that you are gaining the knowledge and or hiring someone to help you really get a solid presence, both look and feel, getting your logo up and looking great so that when people see it, they identify with your business, and having a really strong communications and marketing platform with all of your social media channels, your website, brochures, all the ways that you're going to reach out and attract those customers to you. It's really important, never been more important than it is today, to have a solid marketing foundation, because there are tons of products and services out there that are all very similar. So in order to stand out, your business needs to be front and center and be really, really doing an excellent job at marketing, both online and offline, so an integrated approach. So that is the sort of high level steps on how to start and run a business. And this is the business model canvas that I was talking about. I think what I'll do is because you've got in your notes, this is quite small. So maybe what I'll do is I'll send this separately to Elsie, and then she can email it out to you, because it's really excellent to be able to see your business in a one-page format and know all the different moving parts that it's going to include. And then you can also take this to like a Tallahout Capital Corporation to get funding to help you put your business plan together. But they do need to know that you have a pretty good understanding of how you're going to start and run your business, and then they can help support you with that. So just to give you a quick example of what another nation, one of my clients, is doing, who's been super successful in really helping their Indigenous entrepreneurs to launch and grow businesses. They've actually made a point of having a small business program. And so that includes everything from members learning about business practices, basic entrepreneurial skills, marketing, branding, pricing, learning to sell their products and services, understanding the digital media space and using social media, proposal writing, operations, goal setting, and also at the end of the day, as an entrepreneur, we need to really put ourselves out there, so that you need to be able to overcome any fears that may pop up. And putting yourself out there is not always easy. But if you're going to be an entrepreneur, you have to be able to set really clear goals and go after those goals, overcome obstacles, and hopefully somebody at your nation is there to not only support that your nation's going to give you the education you need to understand how to do it, but also there's going to be somebody who's going to be able to cheerlead you and coach you and guide you through the process as you are on that journey, because it's really important. Sometimes entrepreneurship can feel like a really solo journey, and it can be hard sometimes, because you're basically there. Michelle knows, right, Michelle? It's you doing everything. And at times, when sometimes obstacles pop up, or your technology goes sideways, or, whatever it happens to be, sometimes you just need some support. You need some cheerleading, or you need some technical assistance. Like it really helps to have somebody on your side who can support you and say, keep going, you got this. And so that's what the Squamish Nation has put in place. And I've helped to build this program, and I teach all of the courses that I just mentioned, and we've had hundreds of Indigenous people become entrepreneurs, including our many award winners year after year, and they're running businesses. So as I mentioned, lots of artists who are really successful, and artisans, DJ services, fashion designers, jewelry designers, food trucks, construction operators, Indigenous designers. So lots of really talented people who have started and running their businesses at the Squamish Nation. This is to give you an idea of what we do. So we advertise pretty heavily to get those bums and seats at the nation, and let everybody know, here's how entrepreneurship is going to benefit you. Take your skills, take your expertise, turn it into a business, and you've got the education and the support to help you do that all the way. These are two of our award winners, Paul Natrell and Oreen Askew, two amazing people and incredible entrepreneurs who started their businesses. When we first started the small business program about 12 years ago, and they are now leaders in their community, and they're hiring other people, and they're all over the news, and they're just incredible people and entrepreneurs. And now they're both leaders and doing lots of public speaking and encouraging other people to get into entrepreneurship, as well as encouraging the youth to go after what they want in their lives. So that's just another example of two entrepreneurs who are doing incredible things, who started off in this small business program and got the tools and the education and the support they needed to really go after what they wanted. And now they're super uber successful. And this is just a recent social media workshop that we did at Squamish Nation, for example, an ad here that goes out to the nation. We had about 20 to 22 people in the courses, and who went through all of the entire program this year. And you can see just a snippet here. So we've got, again, everybody from artists to interior designers to construction companies. So yeah, it's really exciting to see them do what they love and start to go after it. Squamish Nation, Paul Natrell, you just briefly saw him. He came into the workshops, the program, as I said, 12 years ago. He actually has an amazing story. He was a single father of 5 children. 5 children. He was a youth at the time. He was in his, mid to late 20s. And he, 2014, so he took the business courses at the Nation. He really had it in his heart that he wanted to be an entrepreneur. He grew up in an environment of poverty. He didn't want his kids to experience the same thing. He didn't have, the formal education, but he did go to school to become a chef. And he was working, and he had some experience as a chef working for restaurants. And he decided, that's it. I want to do my own thing. Did all his education through the Nation, got grant funding through the Nation, and then went on to get his own, he got a grant to get his own food truck and start his catering company. And ever since then, he's just been killing it in the media, on social media, like news media, social media. And he's hiring other people in the Nation, and he's bringing his kids into the business. And he recently had, because we went into COVID, right? And everything he was doing was in person. So here's a talk about innovating under pressure. He took his business from a total bricks and mortar in-person environment to an online environment where he added new product lines, like he added his own coffee, his own bannock that packaged bannock that people could buy and order. He had a delivery service where his actual cuisine could be delivered to your home, and you could prepare it or just the groceries, and you could prepare it yourself. And he created his own app. Just like if you want to see an Indigenous entrepreneur who is just doing amazing things and killing it, check him out in social media and follow him, Paul Natrell. He is what happened here? Mr. Bannock Food is his. I think it's up there in the corner. Hold on, I've got everything. Mr. Bannock. Oops. Shoot. Just a sec. Yeah, Mr. Bannock Food, I believe, is his online handle. DJ Osho, she's another one that is one to watch if you want to see how an Indigenous entrepreneur starts and runs a successful business. Now, a really important thing is the entrepreneurs that have been successful and are now helping to bring others along. They come into these workshops and speak. And this is a really important thing to do, because what it does is all the people in their community know them. And so to hear them tell their story in person, and to know that Aureen and Paul started in the exact same place where the class participants are starting, really helps to give them that additional inspiration and the ability to go, okay, they did it, and they started from a situation where they didn't have a ton of resources behind them, in terms of they didn't come from a business background, or their family wasn't in business, and so they had to learn it from scratch. Plus, Aureen also had to start her business under dire circumstances, where she basically she was a youth too at the time, and she her house underwent a fire. They had burned to the ground fire. So she literally only had time to grab her turntable, and because she decided that she wanted to be a DJ, and she ran out with her turntable. And so when she first came into my course, that many years ago, she had her turntable, and she's like, this is my story. And yes, it's been difficult, but I'm doing this. And again, she had the support of taking the courses, and also at the time, Gina Jackson, the small business officer, was offering coaching from the inside. And so, together we helped her to, pave the way for what she's now doing. And she's, of course, she had the desire and the dedication and knew what she wanted to achieve, and saw the vision for herself. And now she's doing national gigs. She gets flown to Vegas to do like bartenders balls. She also recently DJ'd at the Canucks hockey game. So she speaks nationally, and she's in the news all the time. A biography was recently published on her, it's won awards at numerous film festivals around the world. So DJ Osho, she's another one if you want to get some inspiration from, and as an Indigenous entrepreneur. So she's both Indigenous and Black. That's why that's why she looks Black, because she's both. But she's an incredible person, and she's always up to help other Indigenous people learn to become entrepreneurs. And especially, she has a soft spot for the youth. So she's always doing public speaking at youth events, and she comes into our courses and does it tells her story to inspire others. So yeah, very exciting. Okay, so let's talk about money. Money is what helps entrepreneurs to start, their businesses, get off the ground. There's a number of grant opportunities available through, as I mentioned, the Aboriginal Capital Corporations. There's a NACA, which is the National umbrella for Indigenous Capital Corporations, of which there is one in pretty much every region. And they are super supportive of Indigenous people. I've had a number of my clients that I've helped get their applications and their overviews together to apply to get grants. And they've had success getting grant funding for both getting their business plan together. And I've helped them with that, their marketing plan, also with executing their marketing. So getting funds so that we can help them to get their online presence going, and getting in front of their target audience. Also training, helping them and coaching, helping them to make the journey easier for them on just all the aspects of starting and running a business once they've done all their courses. And also there's a grant funding for materials, for equipment. So anything that you basically need to run your business, the Indigenous Capital Corporations can help you with that. And for example, Tallahassee Capital Corporation is one of the Indigenous Capital Corps that I work with here in the Lower Mainland, and they've been super supportive of all my Indigenous entrepreneurs, where we've been able to get a lot of really incredible grant funding to help them start if they're already operating, grow their businesses. And so there is generally what the entrepreneurs would do is an equity matching program where they'll take out, they'll get funding for a certain amount. Let's say if they get funding for 60,000, and then a certain percentage of that is the entrepreneur will match, but most of, or at least half of it, is completely free, like grant funding, so they don't have to pay that back. And then of course there's funding through the nation. So Squamish Nation gives grants to their entrepreneurs too, and that helped Paul Natrell, for example, get up and running in his business and buying his food truck. And then there's of course traditional funding through it's tough to get bank funding if you don't own any major assets, but I know that Van City is pretty supportive for Indigenous entrepreneurs. So if you have a Van City in your region, I'd highly recommend you talk to them. And if you're an active corp, talk to Van City and see what sort of support you can get for your entrepreneurs as well. Shopify is an online e-commerce platform, and they've also recently launched an Indigenous entrepreneur program where they have some grant funding available, and also a lot of resources for Indigenous entrepreneurs that are going e-commerce with their businesses. And then of course the provincial and federal government are always coming out with programs, grant programs for Indigenous people, so who are wanting to start businesses. Now I know I'm usually I'd ask for a lot more feedback, but we don't have a lot of time, and I'm trying to get all this knowledge into your heads right now. So, but can you guys tell me how is this all sinking in so far? Yeah, Jamie, thumbs up. Excellent. Jason, how about you? All right. Woo! Blossom, are you there? You still there? And Jen or Zen, hopefully this is giving you some food for thought and some tips too that you can start to run with.
Yeah, I was just thinking that perhaps you and I should talk about setting up a business plan for transportation, because for work with Canada Post, all you need is a van, or be able to rent, borrow, or loan a van. And so long as you have a driver's license, you can get a contract with Canada Post. So yeah, setting up a business plan, very simple. Have truck will travel.
Fantastic. I'd love to chat with you about that, Zen. Let's connect after the webinar. Definitely. Okay, so the next piece, everybody, I did mention that after the Indigenous entrepreneurs get the training that they need to understand how to start and run a business and grow a business, then the coaching piece is really important. So initially at the Squamish Nation, we had Gina Jackson, who was doing the coaching from the inside, and they've since post-COVID, they kind of switched their small business program where they've got now all of the training is being rolled out that I'm helping them to achieve that now, and we're doing all of the automating all the registration process and just really engaging the community. But we're also going to be switching up the coaching, where it looks like I'm going to be taking on a lot of the coaching and mentorship as well. So whether you have that outsourced or you do it internally, if you have the resources, this is a really important piece, because even if people have the knowledge, it's important that they have the additional support once they gain that knowledge. Because as I said, entrepreneurship is not a cakewalk. It takes a lot of drive and a lot of gumption to constantly put yourself out there. And so it's important to have someone to help guide you along your journey, and also to be accountable to someone. Because it's so easy just for all of us to, once we learn something, to slip back into our day-to-day lives, and to have that desire to be an entrepreneur is wonderful, but you also need to be able to follow through on all of the steps. And if obstacles arise, sometimes it's tough for people to get through those obstacles on their own. So I would highly recommend that you have some sort of coaching and mentorship program in addition to the training, to help the entrepreneurs continue on that path and to make it a little bit easier for them, because they are out there solo doing it. Oh, and another really important piece is to get your procurement strategy as active, and even as an Indigenous entrepreneur, to understand that there's a lot of procurement opportunities available, both with corporations who have mandates to hire and specifically hire Indigenous suppliers and vendors, and also through the nation partnering with corporate Canada and different companies on various projects. So how it works, for example, at Squamish Nation, there's a certain percentage of work that has to be provided to the entrepreneurs at the nation, and also to employees, that any corporation that partners with the nation on, whether it's a big like real estate build or something industrial, they have to hire the entrepreneurs from within the nation. So this means that the nation members get first crack at whatever business opportunities come from the developments. And this is amazing, because if it, this just gives you a huge competitive advantage as an Indigenous entrepreneur. And also, so from a procurement advantage, when dealing with the government has also set aside millions of dollars in contracts for Indigenous people. So Their criteria, though, is you have to be 51% Indigenous owned and operated. And if you have 6 employees working for you or more, then 33% of your employees or of your workforce needs to be Indigenous. Okay, and so to understand all the opportunities, both as an economic development officer and as an Indigenous entrepreneur, there's a lot of opportunity around procurement. So it's really important to get familiar with whether your nation has its own procurement strategies, and also looking at any corporations that have procurement mandates where you could potentially have a real competitive advantage. And also looking at government and signing up on the Indigenous registry for government when companies are looking to hire Indigenous suppliers. So there's another amazing way as an Indigenous company, whether it's Indigenous, whether it's nation-owned company or an individual Indigenous entrepreneur, tons of ways that you can have a competitive advantage and be able to land new business. So these are just a few through the Canadian Council for Aboriginal Businesses that are larger, corporate Canada type companies that have mandates to hire Indigenous businesses. So you could go onto their website and see who participates in the programs and see which companies you would potentially like to partner with or work with. And then, this is a really good one for you active out there. First Nations Major Project Coalition.
Sorry, I was just wondering if you could go back and I could take a picture of that real quick.
Yeah. Okay, or is my heck, I'm not going back. Oops. There we go. Those are just a few, Jamie. There's so much more. If you go on the CCAB website, you'll be able to find more of them. Okay, so First Nation Major Project Coalition. This is a really great website to be able to go and see what other First Nation communities are doing and partnering with corporate Canada, partnering with the government on major projects. And again, as I mentioned, all these major projects mean more economic development for the communities themselves as well. And a lot of Indigenous entrepreneurship is going to come from this, because they're going to need all of these developments will need products and services provided to them. So during the projects as well as after, when more economic opportunities are available within the community, somebody's got to be there to supply more products and services. So why not be your community members? Teach them how to do it instead of bringing in people externally. And here is a contest now for any Indigenous entrepreneurs or Jamie, if you're at the stage where you're ready to start to put in your 1-minute pitch, you could potentially, or Blossom, you too, potentially win up to $25,000 for your idea or business. And this is through Powwow Pitch, which is a company that highlights Indigenous entrepreneurship nationally. And so you do a quick 1-minute pitch and submit it, and you never know what can happen. So they are partnering with Shopify as well. So you can see the website address down there. You want to throw your name in the ring there and let everybody know what you're doing. And that's it, everybody. 5 minutes to spare. Any questions?
Oh, you did good. You covered a lot of ground, Loa. Nicely done. Nicely done. We do have 5 minutes. So if anyone has any questions, we want to open the floor. Yes. And Jamie did have a question in the chat box too around that grant. So I noted that, Jamie's. Okay, so go for it, Jamie.
Hello? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay, I need to. Thank you. That's the kids. So yeah, so the question was, it was about the grant, but also it was about the pitch thing.
Oh,
Yeah, I wasn't sure. Do I just email somebody for that information or?
yeah, Jamie, there's actually, if you see here, just let me go back a slide. If you see the website address at the bottom, you see it? It's, if you go to that website, there is an application that you can fill out, and then I think you would probably likely upload your 1 minute pitch via video.
And what is the pitch? What is that? Is that like your idea or?
Yeah, so well, it says here, so I just learned about this myself yesterday, and I thought it would be good to share this with you all. But it says here, so submit your 1 minute pitch to qualify for the 2022 powwow pitch for your chance to win $25,000 for your idea or business, with more than 200,000 in cash prizes just by entering. And you're also going to get access to free tools, technology, and resources to start and scale your business.
Okay.
Yeah, so the other thing too, Jamie, it sounds like if you're going to be creating Indigenous apparel, Shopify, you're probably going to want to start to sell online, right? So Shopify might be a good platform for you to look into. And because they also have a program now specifically for Indigenous entrepreneurs, that could be another resource for you. And also to let you all know, another great platform for building a website and a really user-friendly e-commerce platform is Wix.com. That is what I always advise my clients when they're needing a website and maybe they don't have the capital to hire a professional right away, at least to get your business presence up and online. Wix has some really nice templates that are drag and drop. So you basically upload your images that are relevant to your business and you plug them in. It's a template, right? So, and your content as well. So your written content, it just makes it so much easier to get up and running and started. And it's not expensive. It's a very reasonable initial investment to have your website up. And also they update all the technology, so you don't have to worry about that either. So my online training site, let me show you. This is actually a Wix site. And I did it in Wix because I wanted my people, all my participants, to see what it can look like. And let me know if you guys can see this just a sec. I've got a whole bunch of stuff on my screen. Okay, can you see that, or is it still in the PowerPoint? Okay, I've got to reshare just a minute. Resharing just my PowerPoint, just a sec. Desktop. Now you're going to see each other. Oh, there we go. You see it now? Okay, so this is the Activate training website. So all the in-person training that I've been doing, and I built this myself. And I'm not a designer, and so not bad, right? Like, I've got all my workshops here. So as an Indigenous entrepreneur, you can put yours together and it won't take you that long. And they've got some really nice templates. And I think what does it cost me? I think it cost me, I can't remember the cost, but it's low. I think it's around $40 a month or something. But to have a technology platform, and I'm soon going to be adding the online training. So I'm going to add the e-commerce component as well to it and attach it to the website. So again, it's all very, in terms of expanding your business and getting it online and having a really great, strong presence, that's also e-commerce enabled.
Sorry, I just have to, I'm just letting you guys know I have to go. I have a call here.
Oh yeah, no problem.
Yeah, but thank you so much for the presentation, and everything was awesome. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome, Jamie. Good luck with everything. And please, everybody, keep in touch on LinkedIn. Excellent. And that's it for me, everyone. So I just wanted to quickly show you that, because Wix is a pretty powerful program, and it'll help if you're an entrepreneur, help you get up and running, or if you're ECDEV, you want to help your entrepreneurs get up and running. And there it is.
Awesome. So note her social handles, note her website. her contact information in the event you want to shoot her a message, you've got some questions. There it is. And are we sending this out, Loa? Like, are you sending this to Elsie and then she sends this?
Yeah, so
back out?
yeah, thanks, Michelle. I did actually send the notes version, but I think what I'll do is I'll create the slides in a 2-slide per page, and then that way it'll be easier to see all the slides because they'll be larger.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much for sharing what you know. I think the one huge piece that really stuck out to me was the mentorship piece, right? Because being an entrepreneur can be lonely. The struggle is real, but making those connections to your circle, to your community, to those who've done this journey before, I think is so important. So I'm really thankful that you put this as part of your presentation. So thank you everyone for joining us. Loa is like wonderful. She's just full of knowledge, isn't she? So we're honored that you've joined us this afternoon. And again, reach out, connect. LinkedIn. She does marvelous stuff on LinkedIn, or put some really good tips on there as well. So make sure you follow her there. Thank you everyone for joining us. And that's all we have to say for today. So have a good rest of your day. May you walk well, and may you find those good connecting places within creator, within your own self, within land and community. So be well, everyone. Take care.
Thank you so much, Michelle, for bringing such amazing energy today. And everybody, it was so nice meeting you. And anything I can do to help, please do reach out. You'll have my contact information, and yeah, just good luck with everything. And I look forward to watching you all blossom.
Okay, peace, everyone.